I can hang up and call again, and maybe we'll get a better connection.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you all for being here tonight. Thank you to all distinguished guests that are here in the audience. I think there's an important conversation on tolerance and cultural sensitivity. Just a word about the place that we're sitting here. This is the Museum of Tolerance, which is run by the Simon Wiesenthal Center. And just to give you a little bit of background of the place that we're in, if you had come earlier today, if you had been in this room, you would have seen NYPD training on racial profiling. If you had walked into the hallway, you would have seen teens from a local camp that were touring around and seeing all the different ways to avoid hate, to avoid bigotry, to avoid bullying. And I think this is a very, very sacred space. And a word about one of our exhibits, if you go out there, and this is my favorite exhibit I play for everyone, it's called The Power of Words. It talks about the power of words. And on there's a number of people. There's President Roosevelt's on there, President Kennedy, and I think one of the most powerful speakers ever to walk the face of the planet, Dr. Martin Luther King, is there. Words from his speech, which in 2 weeks we will be celebrating the 50th anniversary of that speech. And just to mention, given the fact that I'm a rabbi, I like to reflect on the Bible. The Jubilee is the 50th year. And it says, and this is definitely not by coincidence, the 50th year is sacred. It's a time of freedom and of celebration. And indeed, it's been 50 years, and we have come so far. We have come so far, but there is a maintenance that is needed. There is a healing that is needed. There is a constant communication that is needed. Because just as in 2 weeks we're ready to celebrate that 50th anniversary, 1 week ago, we saw the Jackie Robinson statue in Brooklyn, defaced with swastikas and racial slurs. A few months ago, Mark Carson, a 32-year-old gay man, was shot and killed in New York for no other reason other than his sexual orientation. Gabrielle Molina was literally bullied to death on the internet. There are so many pressing issues in our society. That's what we come here to the museum to discuss and to talk about. And I can't think of any more important topic for the future leaders in New York City. New York City, I was born in the Bronx. I grew up in Sheepshead Bay. I've been here for most of my life. And I can tell you that this is a city that is so culturally diverse, so beautiful, but there is that ongoing maintenance, that healing, that coming together that needs to happen on an ongoing basis. And whoever sitting at this table hopefully becomes the mayor of this great city of ours, that person will have to govern, but they're also going to have to lead. They're going to have to lead by reaching out to all different communities. And this museum is a place, and really we're named after Simon Wiesenthal, the famous Nazi hunter who understood that the lessons of the Holocaust are something that need to guide us, because why did the Holocaust happen? It happened because of bigotry and hate speech and intolerance and bullying and all these terrible things, and we need to guard against that for the rest of our lives in all societies, and especially here in New York City. So it's our privilege to have you all here tonight, our privilege to have the candidates here tonight to talk about this important topic. And I might add that there's never really been a forum on tolerance. And I hope that we're starting something special that's going to occur at every election. I want to take a moment just to thank the guest moderators that we have here. These are some of the folks that I've met recently, have become recent friends of mine, and I think that they're really amazing people from across the community. I'd like to thank Sayu Bijwani, who's here, the founding director of the New American Leaders Project, over there to my left. Erica Gonzalez, the executive editor of El Diario, also to my left. And sitting here in front of me, Todd Sears, the founder of Out on the Street. I want to thank them for being here and thank them for taking time out for this important conversation. And more importantly, the person who is going to moderate tonight, I'd like to refer to him as the referee, who's really someone that we all know and love, and really the face of New York, who needs no introduction, but it's my job to introduce him and thank him for being here, Errol Lewis.
Thank you very much, Rabbi, and thank you all for being here. Candidates, good to see you again. I think this is our 13th session together.
We've been to 200.
Yeah, that's true. You've been to a couple of hundred. That's true. We are going to jump right into it, and I'll explain the process briefly in case the candidates weren't properly briefed about it, which is that we're going to have each of the moderators ask you a series of questions. I'll ask the first one, and I'll give you the order in which we'd like you to respond. So I'll sort of be a traffic manager, and we're going to ask you, of course, for the traditional brief 2-minute or 1-minute responses. I'll indicate that along the way as well. I should mention also that we have at least one other candidate who's we expect to join us as we go forward. People have had a number of different traffic issues, but with all of that said, let's get right into it. The first question is, what does tolerance mean to you? And we'd like to get a 2-minute response, and we'll start with John Liu.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Earl, and I want to thank the organizers for putting together this forum. And in many ways, this is the very first forum this year on tolerance itself. And tolerance to me is the acceptance of each other's existence and the acceptance of each other's right to speak their mind. However difficult it may be to hear those views, however difficult it may be to accept the reality that some people may be of that kind of mindset. And so I always go back to a few years ago when the Ku Klux Klan was trying to plan their rally right here in Manhattan. And there was a lot of protest saying that the Ku Klux Klan should not be given a permit to have their rally, that we should drive them out of this city, that they are not welcome here.